Okay, so we're on another question now on the sample exam, and it's a complete the code question. So most of the code's been given. You've got to fill in the blanks or fill in the gaps. Okay, now be very careful with these questions because a lot of students seem to avoid them. Okay, and they're generally very, very easy. But the thing you have to do at the start is work out what's needed, what's existing already, how to fit the answer you need to give in with what's already provided. So it's a little bit of jigsaw work at the start, but it's usually only 5 or 10 lines of code at the most, and it's really easy, 5 marks. So definitely don't go past these sorts of questions. So the code says, the following code demonstrates the concept of inheritance, where 2 subclasses, salary employee and hourly employee, inherit the properties of the superclass employee. Your tasks are to write the missing code for the constructors of salary employee and hourly employee, and what would have been the output produced by the program demo inheritance. So you need to finish off the constructors only. Okay, so the constructors only, and then what's the output? Okay, so there's 2 things to do. Finish off 2 constructors, and then generate and say what the output is. Don't forget to do both. It's 5 marks. So generally, like I said, generally these ones are very easy. So there's our employee class. We've got a name and a social security number, a constructor that takes both, setting up those up with values passed in, a set name and a toString, pretty standard stuff. A salary employee extends employee, it takes in an employee name and an employee social security number, and a salary. So salary is what this class adds. And really this class only needs to worry about the salary, and it's superclass that handles employee name and social security number. So we just need to pass those across to the constructor for the superclass. Okay, and that's as simple as super emp name, comma, emp SSN. Okay, and then we've got to set the salary to the salary passed in. So this dot salary is equal to salary. And that's it for that constructor. It's that easy. Okay, now if this is a real project, we'd have to delete that comment there because this line of code here, it has to be the first line of code in your constructor. Okay, so we're just passing across the employee name and the employee social security number passed in here. We're passing those across the superclass constructor, which takes in the name and the social security number. Okay, so the superclass or the parent class is responsible for those 2 fields. So we're just passing them across. The next constructor, it's the same sort of thing. We're just passing across those 2 fields to the employee to the employee superclass constructor, and we're handling the fields that we know about. So it's these 2 hours paid and hourly pay and hours worked. They're the ones we deal with here. The rest are handled in the superclass. So it's much the same sort of thing. Super emp name, emp salary, emp SSN, and I'm writing this in Word, so it's capitalizing it all on me. I'm battling with Word, and then we write the other codes here, which is this dot hours or hourly pay equals hourly pay, and this dot hours worked is equal to hours worked. And of course we put the this in front to clarify that we do mean the class data, the class fields, and without the this in front it means the local variables that are passed in via the method header there. And just go back a bit, this dot salary equals salary, and this dot hourly pay equals hourly pay, this dot hours worked equals hours worked, and that's it. We've finished our programming for that. Now we just need to say what the output is if the code worked properly. Okay, so here's our, where is it? Our demo inheritance. That's missing a D on the front, but doesn't matter. So we've got 2 employees here, Steve with a social security number and an hourly rate and an hours worked, and we've got another employee called SEMP, which is Moira, and she's got a social security number and a salary. Okay, so it's just printing those 2 out to the screen. So for the first one, it's going to call the toString method for the hourly employee, because it's an hourly employee with an hourly rate there and an hours worked, and it's going to display super.toString, which is going to display super.toString. there it is. It's hard to read this code because the curly brackets aren't in line. So it's a badly formatted question. But anyway, sometimes you've got to work around these things. It's probably a real life example, really, because sometimes you have to deal with messy code. And that returns the name, emp name, /n with SS hash sign, colon with lots of blank space in there, SSN. Okay, so the output's going to be name with a lot of blank space, or maybe a tab, Steve Howard, SS number, colon, lots of spaces again, with his number, 896. You can fill it out. Okay, and then we go to the toString method for the hourly employee, salaried employees. He's an hourly employee, so we'll go to that one. So it's returning status hourly. Rate is a $sign followed by the hours pay, and then hours with hours worked. Okay, and format. Sorry for scooting around all over the place. So he's going to have these fields here: status hourly, and followed by with a bunch of spaces, and then a rate. So a bunch of spaces there as well, or a tab, whatever it is. I'll assume it's a tab. And then the rate, and a $sign's right against the tab. And then it's the format of the hourly pay, and then hours with a tab, and the format of the hours worked. Okay, followed by tab, and the hours worked is 40, and the hourly rate is $10.50. Okay, and then much the same for the salaried employee. So salaried employee here and she's got a salary of $800. So you go to the salaried employee toString method, which is this one. So it's going to put out status salary and salary followed by a dollar, followed by the formatted data with a /n. So it's going to be much the same sort of thing here, but salary instead there, and just the salary coming out, and no hours worked. And it'll be saying salary there. Okay, so we've filled in the missing code, and we've provided the output. So we've answered the full question. So all in all, that's really quite a gift for 5 marks. Okay, I hope that was useful. Thanks for watching.